2,500 kilometres on the Tuareg Rally and thought I would give my impressions after having ridden it in a variety of conditions. I don't really do review videos because I don't ride many other bikes than the ones I own, and I tend to keep bikes for a long time, so I don't have a comparison for reference. I also have come from riding motocross and enduro bikes with minimal street bike experience. The only road bike I own is an Aprilia RS250, and my main bike before the Tuareg Rally was a KTM 300 EXC, which I still own. First of all, I found the transition onto the Aprilia fairly easy. To me, it does feel a lot like an enduro bike. The bike feels very planted, it carries its weight low, and it feels like the bike was tailor-made for my dimensions. When it's in off-road mode and I've got the traction control and ABS off, I can put it into 95% of the situations I put the KTM 300 into. Originally the suspension was extremely stiff and harsh. I ended up winding out both the front and rear and then going back 3 clicks. I changed the tyres to Michelin Anarchy Wilds with between 15 and 20 psi front and rear for off-road, and I find the ride to be a lot more compliant with the harshness gone. The rear does kick up on the odd occasion, and I really need to set the sag, which I haven't done yet. The Tuareg Rally wants to be ridden hard. The harder you ride this bike, the better it performs. I recently did a short off-road section at 150 kilometers an hour with corrugations and potholes on the track, and it felt better at that speed than what it did sub 100. The standard Pirelli Scorpion STR tyres the bike was fitted with from new were great on the blacktop, but for me they felt way too twitchy off-road. The swap to the Anarchy Wilds has transformed the bike for me off-road. They have 1,800 kilometers on them now, and they're starting to show some wear, so we'll see how long they last. On-road, the bike has been great. The 80 horsepower, in my opinion, feels a little lethargic, which I'm guessing is down to the weight. As I said, I'm used to MX and enduro bikes, which are pretty snappy. The KTM 300 I own is 105 kilograms wet with around 50 horsepower versus the Rally being 200 kilos with 80 horsepower. I don't think it's underpowered. I think it's just different to what I'm used to. It has more than enough power for off-road, and I've had no issues overtaking on the blacktop or travelling at highway speeds. The seat is fine for shorter rides, but over 250 kilometres, I find it starts to get fairly uncomfortable. Off-road, I find the gearing to be a little tall for tighter trails and for deep sand. I'm always looking to keep it in the rev range that is sort of in between first and second gear. It'd be an easy fix with a sprocket change and something I'll probably look at when the chain and sprockets need replacing. When I rode the sand on the Holland track, it was fine because I could carry a lot more speed and have it in the right rev range. But on the recent coast trip I did, I'd have to be riding around 60 kilometers an hour in second gear to have the revs where I need to have them for riding deep sand. The deep coastal sand, rutted out track, I just found that wasn't possible. First gear was too short and second gear was too tall. On hot days when I'm riding slow tracks, I really notice the heat coming from the cap. I can see why it's a popular mod to delete them, and I'm guessing it probably will contribute to engine longevity, as people say. A couple of negatives: the factory handguards are terrible quality. They're just not up to standard for the price of the bike. The bracket that mounts them to the bars are made out of plastic. I've broken both sides of mine already from just low speed drops, and I'm going to be looking at an aftermarket option. I don't have any faith that the factory ones will offer any protection. The bash guard makes a lot of noise with rocks etc. hitting it. It's not a problem, just an observation, and you can hear it in all the videos I make. Overall, I'm extremely happy with this bike. It sounds good, it looks good, and it's an absolute pleasure to ride. It fits my riding style and usage perfectly.